The flashlight in the abandoned forest. When I was a college student, John, my best friend and roommate, and I had a habit of doing reckless things. Not because we were unintelligent, but because we were impulsive and thrill-seeking. Most of the things we did were wild, sometimes dangerous. Climbing water towers in the middle of the night, sneaking into abandoned houses, and even getting chased by the police for trespassing. So, when that night we decided to explore the forest behind town, we both thought it would be just a small adventure compared to everything else we'd done. The forest lay on the outskirts of town, surrounded by homes that had been burned down decades ago. People said there was nothing there but ashes and overgrown trees. Even the boldest kids in town rarely ventured near it. The forest was whispered about, cursed, and rumored to have swallowed those who got lost inside. But for two thrill-seekers like us, those warnings only made it more enticing. We packed a few flashlights and walked for about half an hour from the dorms to the back of town. The scorched, desolate road led us past charred foundations and crumbling walls, still tinged with old smoke. The atmosphere was strange, silent yet heavy, as if everything that had happened there lingered, never letting go. As we entered the forest, the town's lights quickly disappeared. Only the pale moonlight and the weak beams of our flashlights illuminated the towering trees. At first, nothing seemed unusual. We joked about ghosts and the sounds of dry leaves crunching beneath our feet, which seemed eerily like whispered voices. After about 20 minutes, the initial fear faded, replaced by monotony. Trees, and even more trees. Then John suddenly stopped. I nearly ran into him before he whispered, "Look, there's a light." In the dense darkness, there was indeed a faint flickering light not far away, weaving through the trees. We thought it was a small fire, but the glow was too steady. It was electric. As we approached, my heart raced. On the ground, a flashlight lay lit, neatly in the middle of the path with no one around. We exchanged a glance, silent but understanding. This flashlight couldn't have been there for long. Batteries die, and who would leave a bright light in such a dark forest? The only answer, someone dropped it while fleeing. The thought chilled my blood. If they were running, what were they running from? John swallowed hard, voice trembling yet curious. "Do you think it's still around?" I wanted to tell him to shut up, but our recklessness had brought us here, and part of me was eager to know the truth. Instead of picking up the flashlight, we silently left it and went deeper. The air thickened, and every breath echoed in the stillness. Minutes later, a branch snapped behind us. At first, just one sound, then 3, 4 more, like someone running fast on dry twigs. We spun around, flashlight beams sweeping the darkness. Nothing, only trees swaying in the wind. My heart pounded, but we forced ourselves to stay calm, convincing ourselves it was wildlife. We walked a few more minutes when the sound returned, closer this time, right behind John. This was no longer walking, it was running. When we pointed the light, there was nothing but endless darkness. Goosebumps rose on my skin, fear bubbling up. Something was following us. As we tried to turn back, the sound happened again. This time, in a fleeting moment, the flashlight illuminated a shadow darting behind a tree. I knew I wasn't imagining it. John froze, pale. We stared into the darkness. Then, for 10 silent seconds, the shadow's head peeked out, revealing a blurry face in moonlight, staring at us. It was the most terrifying moment of my life. I couldn't make out details, only the head tilted slightly, eyes black as pits. No sound, no words, just a calm, patient predator watching. "Run!" I screamed. We sprinted through the forest, ignoring direction, breath ragged, heart hammering. The snapping branches followed, faster and more urgent, as if it were chasing. We ran until the distant lights of the town appeared. We stopped, gasping, then followed the old road back. But one thing sent a chill down my spine. The flashlight was gone. Someone had picked it up, certainly the one we had just seen. Back at the dorm, we were shaking, exchanging nothing but terrified glances. We swore never to return. Days later, the town buzzed with news. Someone missing, last seen heading toward that forest. No trace was ever found. Even now, I wonder, if we hadn't run that night, if we had gone deeper, would we even be here to tell this story? Or would we have become another name on the list of the forest's vanished victims? Story 2, The Shadow in the Backseat. I used to think mysterious disappearances were only in newspapers or movies. But the night I drove alone on that empty highway, I encountered something that still sends chills down my spine whenever I remember it. I was moving to a new city. It was a long drive, nearly 8 hours, and I made the mistake of leaving too late. By the time it was almost 11 p.m., I still had over 2 hours to go. The road was desolate, fields stretching endlessly on both sides, no streetlights, no houses. Darkness surrounded me, my headlights a lonely streak of light in the night. Then disaster struck. The car stalled, the engine clicked, then went silent. I tried restarting several times, but it was useless. My heart raced. I was trapped, no phone signal, no one nearby. I sat in the car, debating whether to walk along the road when headlights appeared in the distance. Hope surged. Someone was coming. The car slowed, stopping right in front of mine. A man stepped out, tall, thin, wearing an old coat, his face hidden in shadow. "Car trouble?" His voice was hoarse and drawn out. I nodded, forcing a smile. "Yes, it won't start." He studied me, then smirked faintly. "I can give you a ride. There's a gas station not far." A chill ran down my spine. They weren't friendly. Empty, cold, assessing prey. I shook my head, keeping calm. "No thanks, I'll wait a bit. Someone might pass by." He paused, then smiled oddly. "You sure? Not many come this way." I nodded firmly, hands secretly locking the car doors. After a few moments, he shrugged and got back in his car. Before leaving, he looked back, eyes dark, lips curling into a strange smile. I exhaled, grateful I hadn't accepted the ride. But I had no idea the nightmare was just beginning. About 20 minutes later, another car appeared. This time, a young woman, seemingly kind. She offered me a ride to the nearest gas station. Hesitant, I trusted her friendly face and got in. We drove, and relief washed over me. But moments later, I glanced in the rearview mirror, and my blood ran cold. In the darkness of the back seat, the man from before lurked, crouched, eyes icy, smile twisted like a predator's. I froze. The woman glanced in the mirror too, her hand trembling on the wheel. She knew. He was hiding in her car. I wanted to scream, but she shook her head, whispering softly enough that he couldn't hear. "Don't show fear, just stay calm." My heart pounded violently. I saw his hand reach for a folding knife, the steel gleaming in the mirror. The air was suffocating, thick with dread. We sped past a lit sign, the gas station ahead. She suddenly swerved sharply, the car skidding into the lot. The man yelled, losing balance. She shouted, "Run!" We bolted out as he stumbled, furious. Inside, employees awake at the station helped us. The police arrived shortly after. The woman's car was empty. The man had vanished, leaving scratches and a dropped knife. No one ever found him that night or knew where he came from. I remember his gaze in the mirror. Empty, bloodthirsty, persistent. as if he had chosen me. That night, I survived thanks to the stranger's courage, but the haunting never left me. Every time I drive alone at night, I check the rearview mirror just to make sure no one is silently sitting in the back, smiling at me. Story 3. Night Shift at the Highway Diner. Of all the places I've ever worked, the Highway Diner haunted me the most. Not the smell of grease in my hair or drunken patrons at midnight. What sent chills down my spine was that fateful night, realizing someone was silently stalking me in the shadows, right inside the diner. It was a winter night. The cold made my breath visible as I stepped out of my car. The diner was isolated along the highway, with only the occasional truck stopping. By day, it was somewhat lively, but at night, it became a desolate space, glaring under pale neon lights against the endless dark. I brewed coffee, glancing through the large windows. The road stretched like a black ribbon, empty. Only the wind whistled through the bushes and the neon "Open" sign flickered with a creak. Around midnight, 2 truckers came in, large men in thick coats, laughing boisterously. I served them hot meals. Everything seemed normal until one frowned at the window. "Did you see anyone around the diner?" he asked. I jumped slightly, looked out. Darkness. I forced a smile. "Probably just the wind. Sometimes someone wanders by, but rarely." They exchanged uneasy glances. Before leaving, one warned, "Lock the doors tight. Something's not right tonight." I felt a strange unease. Once they left, I was alone, thinking perhaps I was imagining things. At about 1 a.m., while wiping the counter, I heard a soft click from the back door. My heart tightened. I was sure I had locked it. I stepped out cautiously, turning on the light. And then I saw him. A strange man stood in the walkway to the kitchen. He wore a dark hood shadowing half his face, but I could see the corner of his mouth curl into a sinister smile. "This door is for staff only," I said, trying to stay calm. He didn't answer. His gaze pierced me, like he wanted to strip me bare. Then he turned into a dark corner, disappearing through the side door. I froze for a few seconds, then locked every door. But deep down, I knew he hadn't left. For the next hour, the diner was suffocatingly silent. I tried staying busy, but then noises returned. This time from the kitchen. Clattering metal, spoons and pans. I stepped in, hands shaking, gripping a pan like a weapon. Lights on, nothing. Back at the counter, dread weighed heavier. Then the back door creaked again. A hand slowly retracted. My heart nearly stopped. I slammed the door, locking it. But behind me, footsteps, slow, deliberate, echoed on the wooden floor. I scanned everywhere. No one. The windows reflected my trembling figure, and for a moment, I saw another shadow move behind me. When I turned, only emptiness. I realized then, he was playing a game. He wanted to terrify me. Around 3 a.m., I almost broke. I tried calling the police from the landline, but then I glimpsed him through the large glass window, his face pressed against the glass, grinning, eyes wide and lifeless. I screamed, dropping the receiver. When I picked it up, the line crackled and went dead. He was gone. Desperate, I grabbed keys to escape through the front, but the door was locked from outside. Cold fear ran down my spine. He had trapped me. I ran to the kitchen for a way out, hearing metal clatter. My eyes fell on a storage cabinet. Its door rattled. A faint breath exhaled from within. Someone was inside. Without thinking, I hurled a steel tray through the kitchen window, glass cutting my hands, blood dripping. But I climbed out with all my strength. The cabinet door burst open behind me. The man lunged, rope in hand, yelling. I didn't look back, sprinting to the highway, screaming, waving. Finally, a patrol car appeared. I nearly collapsed seeing them. The police stormed in, capturing him. He still smiled, eyes empty, mumbling nonsense. His bag contained ropes, tape, and a large knife. He was a wanted criminal, hiding in remote areas, preying on solitary night workers. If I hadn't broken the window and fled, I wouldn't be here to tell this story. From that day, I quit the diner. But whenever I pass that highway, the flickering neon flashes in my memories, along with his twisted smile pressed against the glass. And I know, if I had stayed a few more minutes, he would have tightened the rope around my neck, finishing his sick game of predator and prey.